Hi, this is James Malinchak, featured on ABC's hit television show, Secret Millionaire. And I am so excited to be here with my friend Janine Theus, who is a nationally recognized financial educator, author, speaker, and wealth planner. Hey, Janine, welcome.
Thank you very much, James. Glad to be here.
So glad to have you. So let's dive right into it.
Okay.
Who do you work with?
Retirees, business executives, business owners, and other folks getting ready for retirement.
And so, of all the folks you've worked with over your experience, and what have you found they all really want?
A lot of people want some kind of clarity and peace of mind over what they're currently doing and whether that's going to work in retirement. So one of the things I do is teach people how their money works, and so they can achieve that clarity.
Oh, I love that. Teach people how your money works. Oh, that's great. I never thought about it like that.
So they can look at what they're doing in a broader sense.
So let's talk about your story. I know you have a deep passion, for helping folks. How did you discover this passion? What's your story for how you got started?
Well, growing up, I traveled quite a bit. I was a military family, so you travel across the country and the world, getting to know a lot of new people. And as a result, you also run into some bullies here and there. So since I was the oldest, a lot of brothers, I became the protector. So I went from that scenario to going into the Navy myself, becoming another protector. So when I went into the financial industry, it was just an extension of protecting people and becoming the fiduciary.
So this doesn't sound like a job or a business for you. It sounds like a mission almost.
Yeah,
Passion,
it is.
mission.
It is. Yes, it is a
You're
mission.
the protector.
I am.
Janine the protector. I like it. So, you've identified there are many challenges that folks have, especially when it comes to looking at retirement. Now, we don't have time to go through all of them, but let's talk about a few that might be important to someone watching.
Well, one of the biggest obstacles is people feel or fear running out of money. So they don't know if what they're doing is going to work. They have no idea how to factor in what their income is going to be. So going through that analysis and in a broad view helps them understand in context what they're currently doing, cash flow, scenarios, et cetera, and whether it's what they're thinking is going to work is actually going to work.
Right.
So
I found whether it's someone who has $100,000, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, doesn't matter.
Right.
Everyone still seems to have that fear of running out of money in retirement. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. It doesn't matter how much they make, it's what income am I trying to replace. And that is a concern for most everyone.
Somebody watching might say, well, how can that even be? Well, when you look at retirement, right, let's look at a couple things. Number one, we're living longer.
Right.
Right, so you actually need to have money last longer than maybe several years ago. Number two, there are rising healthcare costs.
Absolutely.
Right, and
yes.
number three, no one ever thinks about this, that your tax situation could be greater in retirement than before because you basically lose an income, right?
It's like looking at the iceberg. We see the iceberg above the water,
right.
So all of these other factors that can affect your retirement are below the water, and they're much bigger usually. So it's very hard for people to see that. And so having someone as a sounding board, to look at all those things for you helps a great deal.
Now let's talk about taxation for a moment. I heard there are over 70,000 pages for the tax code.
Right.
So for someone to think that, well, I could just maybe look at the tax code myself and figure out what's going to be best for me for taxes when I'm retiring, what do you say to that person?
It's very difficult. Even for the CPA, there are 1,700 pages for the CPA's review for their exam, but only one page has to do with actual tax planning. So that's a big factor for people to realize that the tax bite that could be coming is substantial, and how do you plan for that? Most people have difficulty doing that, and it's not just a TurboTax problem.
Right. The other thing I just thought of too is inflation.
Oh, absolutely.
So kind of talk a little bit about, you got the rising healthcare costs, you got the taxation, you got the possible bigger inflation based on your situation now in retirement. Talk about how it's the iceberg. It's all those things you don't think about.
Right. And inflation is a big factor because most people don't build it into their calculations. So one of the things I like everyone to do is a cash flow analysis of current living. And then we try to project forward using inflation and say, is this going to be enough? And like you stated earlier, it doesn't matter if they have $1, $5, or $10 million. It's what am I trying to replace, and what's my lifestyle going to be like, and that including the inflation and the tax factors are very important.
Now, there's another hidden iceberg underneath the surface, if you will, and it's really a myth. You know, people say that you need to plan for having 80% of what you have now for your retirement. Right. And that's really a myth, right? Because that kind of says to me, hey, go cut out 20% of what you like to do with your life while you're in retirement.
Well, it's even worse than that, because even if you're factoring in inflation, people forget about the purchasing power. So if you have $1 million in 20 years, it's only going to be worth about $500,000. Right. So how do I factor for that in my planning? And once you hit your late 50s or early 60s, there are no do-overs right. when it comes to saving
right.
or investing. So you have to get that right. So one of the things I do teach is how markets actually work so people can invest and worry less and get on with the rest of their lives and financial decisions.
So I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay.
All right, Miss Protector. Here's the curveball. What do you say to the person that says, look, I'm really great over here in my business. I can just translate that over here and do this stuff myself.
Usually I ask, are you also going to do your brain surgery or your heart surgery?
That's good.
It doesn't mean that you aren't smart at what you do. It means that this is a completely different field. And that's why we have specialists in this field, and that's why I'm a specialist in this field. It's to protect you as well from yourself, because it's really hard to make some objective decisions when you're looking in the mirror.
Oh, that's good. Protect you from yourself. I call it the curse of success. You know, we're successful here, and we start thinking, well, because we're successful here, we can be successful anywhere, and it's no big deal when it comes to our financial planning.
Yeah, it doesn't really translate.
No.
Even I have an advisor and coach.
Right.
So even advisors, a good advisor is going to also have that coach. And that's very important for objectivity and helping you actually reach your goals.
You know, one thing that I love that you do for clients is you're not trying to like throw one size fits all to everybody.
No.
You know, you really sit down with everybody individually. You know, you have your common blueprint or system that you probably walk folks through, but at the end of the day, you're really helping everybody with a specific plan for their specific situation, right?
Absolutely. And part of that is getting folks to understand that retirement planning or even business planning is a chess game. And a lot of people, there are a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces, they all have different rules, and a lot of people are playing chess or playing retirement chess without the board. So the role of the advisor is to be the board and to provide the board so that you have some objectivity in how, and understanding of how these things work, but also what you're going to do next. And it is customized to the individual because retirement is not a cookie cutter situation.
Right.
Everyone has a specific goal and dream what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so it's not the one size fits all.
That's right.
I mean, you're really making, the important thing is if I walk into your office, you're going to find out, you know, where I am, where I want to be, my vision, my goals, and you're really going to customize a plan specific for me that probably wouldn't work for others.
That's right.
And on the flip side, their plan wouldn't work for me.
You're each unique.
Right.
And it's important to have that in the planning process.
So, Ms. Protector, you ready for curveball number 2?
Sure.
What do you say to the person that says, you know, I don't need to hire a professional. I think I'm just going to go online and read some blogs, some financial blogs, or I'll Google the answer.
Well, if you
because everything online is true.
Oh, right? Absolutely. If you Google the word investing, you're going to get about 9 million pages. It'll take you a couple thousand years to get through it all. So, what pertains to your specific situation? There is some great general knowledge, but what is it you're trying to accomplish, and is what you're reading accurate?
Well, that's the thing. You know, you don't know who wrote these things.
That's right.
It could be a teenager.
Yeah.
Right? It could be somebody with zero experience. zero credibility, that hasn't lived through volatile markets. You know?
So remember I spoke about the bullies, occasionally
Right.
meeting them in my past. Wall Street tends to be a bit of a bully in the information they push to people. So what is it Wall Street's attempting to have you do? And whose best interest do they have at heart?
I don't think it's ours.
I don't think it's ours.
Yeah. Well, then that leads me to another kind of piggybacking off of the, I'll just go on a blog and read this thing, is these business shows, the media.
Right.
And I think it's a huge myth that I'll just watch these business shows and listen to some guru in the media and I'll be fine with my financial future. What do you say to that?
Well, there are a lot of those pundits, talking heads, gurus, quote unquote, that are on these shows a lot, that if you look at their history, they're producing a book after the market's gone up and producing a book after the market's got down.
Yeah, that's true.
So who's really making the money here? It's
Yeah.
the guys writing the books.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Or you'll hear something like this. I see it all the time. There's a 50% chance that it could be a bullish market, but there's a 50% chance that it may go down also. So they can't lose.
Yeah, exactly. They can't lose.
Right.
So that's to get you to move your money. And what we do know from market research is that there are returns to be had in the market. So why am I chasing? Why don't I just own the market?
Well, the other thing too is, they're providing a blanket overview answer. And I always sit there and think, well, they don't know my situation. They don't know the challenges. They don't know what I want to accomplish in the future. So for me to listen to one of them and go act on it based on their blanket answer when they've never sat knee to knee, elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder with me to find out my concerns and my goals, it would be asinine to actually follow that advice.
That's right, because they're usually pushing a specific agenda for them, and they are not talking to you about how you're going to take whatever the income is, how your lifestyle is going to be, and if you in fact have a legacy for your children. They're not talking about your family.
Right.
They're talking about their interests.
And what we need to remember when we watch these things is they're not in the education business, they're in the entertainment business.
That's right.
And they're trying to get better ratings.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to sit down with a specialist like yourself.
Absolutely.
I always say, God forbid that something medically happens to me, I'm not going on Google to try to figure out my diagnosis.
Yes.
Right? Comes back to your brain surgery analogy. I'm going to a specialist, and that's why folks really need to come to you. 2 words I always say that will hurt your retirement. I think. I think I'll just do this, or I think I'm okay, right? So what would you say to the person who says, I think I'm okay, or I think I'll wait, or...
Well, what are you afraid of doing? There's a procrastination factor here. Are you afraid you're going to get the news that you didn't want to get?
Right.
Or are you actually interested in changing something or looking for a solution? And that's going to take an objective.
I always say procrastination is the enemy of a successful retirement. Best day to start?
Right today.
How about yesterday?
Yeah, even better.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
So you just can't wait. You got to get moving, because here's what you really do. That talking to you, I figured out you really do 3 things. Number 1, you help us to preserve. Number 2, protect. And number 3, create peace of mind.
Absolutely, yes.
So that we can have more time freedom, more family freedom, more business freedom, more financial freedom / independence.
Which is a huge for people.
And if I could sum it all up, what you really do for us is you allow us to put our head down on the pillow late at night and go to sleep worry-free.
Absolutely.
Is that a good assessment, of what you really do for folks?
Improve your sleep quotient, yes.
Yeah, get more sleep.
Yes.
Right? Well, so what would you say to the person who's watching that is the next step for them they should take?
Well, as you know, throughout much of life, unless you change something, then you're going to get the same result you've been getting.
Sure.
So you have to take some action to change things.
Einstein said insanity is doing the same thing over and over but expecting a different result.
That's right. So we have some free, valuable resources that folks can get at the information below.
Oh, wonderful.
So,
Janine, thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Keep
James.
up your important work.
Thank you.
So don't wait. Go to the bottom of the screen right now. Right now, don't wait. Click on the link. Download the complimentary resources. They're totally free. and start understanding more about how to create a better financial future for yourself, a greater retirement opportunity for yourself. Better yet, pick up the phone, dial the number, call Janine, talk to her amazing team, schedule an appointment. If you already have an advisor, wonderful. If you have 2 advisors, wonderful. Can never hurt to get a second or third opinion and have a different set of eyes looking at your situation and giving you some ideas maybe you never thought of before. So make it an important thing to do today. Don't procrastinate. You'll be so grateful you took action and contacted Janine. I'm James Malinchak. Thanks so much for watching.